What's good, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. This is Mark coming back at y'all again. And this time I'm going to be doing a vocal analysis video, and it will be on none other than the legendary Patti LaBelle. And this was actually requested by one of my viewers who wanted me to do this video, so here it is. Okay, so I'm pretty much, most of us are familiar with who Patti LaBelle is. But for those of you who don't know who Patti LaBelle is, particularly the younger generation, um, she was a singer that started out in the group called Labelle, and they did songs like Down the Aisle and Danny Boy and Lady Marmalade. And she also had a successful solo career back in the 70s and 80s. When she came out with songs like On My Own and New Attitude and If Only You Knew and things like that. So now that y'all know who Patti LaBelle is, I'm gonna just tell y'all what I think about her voice. I had a chance to listen to her back when she was in the group Labelle, back in the 60s, all the way up until now, in the year 2017. So I'm gonna just tell y'all what I think. Okay, so in regards to her voice type, I think that Patti LaBelle is a spinto soprano. And the reason why I think that she's a spinto soprano as opposed to being a dramatic soprano, because I know a lot of people say that she's a dramatic soprano, and I'm guilty of thinking this myself, when I was younger, mainly because of her steel and metallic upper register, but I really think that she's a spinto because, I don't think her voice is not necessarily dark enough to be considered a dramatic soprano, because when I think of a dramatic soprano, they usually have a full, heavy voice, in their lower and middle register. In fact, their voices are so dark and so full that one would think they will be mistaken for it to be mezzos or contraltos. And, you wouldn't think that they're sopranos up until they get into their upper register, or how, I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for, like how powerful the upper register is, when they get to like maybe an F or an F sharp 5, and that's when you get to hear a whole bunch of um steeliness and all this range and things like that. So that's what I would consider to be a dramatic soprano. So, but Patti LaBelle is a spinto soprano, at least in my opinion, because her voice is it's very light and bright. It's not too light, but it's not too dark either. It's like somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? So that's why, I would consider her to be a spinto soprano, because, like, it's not light enough to be a lyric, but it's not necessarily dark enough to be a dramatic soprano. You know what I mean? So that's why I think that she's a spinto soprano. And so let me just talk about her technique. I think that she has an amazing technique. Her vibrato can be very slow at times, but other than that, I think she has excellent control over her voice. Everything is well connected and well supported. And one thing that really stayed out to me, about her technique is that whenever she gets to the end of her phrases, a lot of times, like, it usually will sound like she's having hiccups or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's what I've noticed. Whenever she gets to the end of her phrases, it would sound like she would have the hiccups a lot of times. And the one thing I don't like about Patty's voice is that, how, sometimes when she sings live, like, she would sing like a baby, real nasally and all that stuff. Like, that's the one thing I don't like about her voice. But other than that, I think that she's a brilliant singer. And, like, I got a chance to listen to her live performance from last year, and and she still can sing to this day, and the woman is in her 70s. And I think it's amazing because, a lot of times you have people her age, even much younger, in the 40s and 50s, their voices will be, deteriorated. And, a lot of singers will lose their voices, due to drugs and smoking and, other bad habits that they would have over the years and things like that. But, Patti LaBelle is just one of those singers, that can still sing it to this day, because, from what I've heard and from what I'm seeing, she takes very good care of herself and her voice. So that's why she sounds the way she does, And of course, her voice had thinned out over the years, but it's natural because, like I said, the woman is like 73 years old, so and you can't expect her to sound the same, back as a teenager or in her 30s. But that's pretty much all I have for y'all, and I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.